Hi friends, in this video we're going to see our rider Eleanor work on her steering. Joining me today is Carol, who taught the lesson, and of course Victor Pony. Hi Carol.
Hi Joan. I did teach Eleanor and we worked on her steering as well as her 2-point and her posting. That can be a lot for a young rider, so let's take a look at how she handled it. So here we see Eleanor beginning to learn about steering. What I'm explaining to her is that we're going to keep our hands low, close to our pony, and we always pull on a diagonal line to our hip. It's a gentle pull, and we want to do it just until our pony listens to us, and then we're going to reward him by giving back and taking off the pressure on his mouth.
A lot of the pulling and learning how to ride and steer has to do with the amount of pressure that we put on the actual metal bit that's in their mouth. So here we see Eleanor in a real nice position.
And we are going to be working on our circle. So this is where we are going to learn to give and take with the pressure as she works around her circle. She's going to learn that Victor doesn't need such a big pull. So we're going to learn about a subtle pull to the hip, which she just demonstrated there. Here I've shown Eleanor how to look at the letters in our arena as focal points to steer to so that she can make nice rounded corners, as you'll see her do with Victor Pony right here.
Yeah, she really rode into that corner very nicely. Nicely pulled her left hip bone to turn him out of the corner. Okay, here's an example where she pulled a little too much on her left hand, took him back to the rail, and then softly did the turn correctly to turn his head to the left.
So here's an example where Eleanor is pulling just a little too high and above her hip, and it can be a little confusing to our ponies, but Victor Pony is being wonderful and doing what she asks. Here she's lowered her hands, and Victor stopped.
So yes, it was where Victor was a little bit confused, so then he stopped, but then she went ahead and gave with her hands and squeezed with her legs, and then he went forward for her.
So here, Eleanor is demonstrating a half turn to change directions. That was a nice turn. She could have made it a little larger, but we're okay with that because Victor Pony is a small pony. Now as he's coming around his circle, he's decided that it's time to come into the trainer for a hug for being such a good boy. So steering is also keeping your pony moving, even when they want to come to the center for their hugs. So here Victor did get a little bit of a reward, which I don't normally do during a lesson, and now he has to move along, and Eleanor's asking him nicely to go forward. So now that Eleanor has gotten good at her steering, we're going to make things just a little bit more difficult for her. I've asked her to do her 2-point. Most people will recognize this as our jumping position. Eleanor's not quite ready to jump yet, but we're going to go ahead and start learning our 2-point as it's a very important position through all of our riding and builds those muscles that she's going to need later on.
And once a new lesson is introduced, the other things that have been learned tend to not be as easy. So as she goes into her 2-point here, you'll notice that she starts to lose her steering abilities a little bit.
Right, and there it is. She's gone back to pulling up instead of pulling diagonally to her hip bone. A little confusing for Victor. The pressure is different than what he would feel when she pulls to her hip as she should. Here we go again. It takes a little bit because students often try to balance themselves with that hand, which is not correct.
Yes, and definitely the angle of the pressure on his mouth makes a big difference to the pony on how he will respond.
And now Eleanor's gone to her posting. Posting's normally used at the trot, but again, we teach it at the walk so that the student can feel the rhythm of their pony and learn to sit gently in the saddle. I always tell my students to pretend that there's a water balloon on their saddle that they don't want to pop.
She'll learn and get a little bit better where she almost looks like she'll be posting out of 2 point. She's rocking back a little bit and landing there, but that is typical at this level of riding. So wow, Eleanor did a lot of things. She was working on her steering, posting, 2 point, her leg position.
She did, and I thought she did a great job. It's a lot for a rider to put together, but I think she'll get it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, Carol.
Thank you.
And thanks so much, Victor. We'll see you on the next online riding lesson video.